Okay. So like I said, my name is Kendall Mills. I'm the program manager here with Season of Justice. And today we are going to go in depth into our public awareness campaign grant program. Um, what you guys can expect to learn today is a little bit more about our organization, what we do, why we exist, and what we can do for families, as well as our public awareness campaign program. We'll go into the details of the program, what it funds, what it doesn't fund, um, what kind of eligibility requirements there are. We'll dive into the application process a little bit, talk about the review and selection of our grants for the year, what SOJ can commit to the family members, what we ask of y'all during this process, and then next steps. Then we'll end this with a Q&A. So like I said, I'm going to get started and jump right in. So Season of Justice is a nonprofit dedicated to providing funding for investigative agencies as well as families who are still seeking justice in their long-term missing persons cases or unsolved homicide cases. And our goal is simply to amplify these unsolved cases, as well as providing funding for crucial forensic testing that may not be available to law enforcement agencies, either because of technology constraints with their public labs or budget constraints because private labs that offer the latest in forensic technology are extremely expensive. But today we're going to be talking about our PAC program, which is focused on raising awareness through out-of-home media. Typically looks like billboards, so you'll hear me refer to that a lot. And also designed to generate new leads and, more importantly, refocus the spotlight on your loved one's case, to get the community involved, to get the news involved, to push law enforcement, to remind the community that there are families still here. You name it, that is the goal of our programs. Our PAC program overview real quick. Each campaign or each grant is up to $5,000. We are a direct to vendor program, which means we will contract directly with the vendor. The families do not pay any costs at all. There is absolutely no financial commitment from the family. And we will pay we will pay the vendors directly. So we'll contract with, say, a billboard company, and we will take care of that fee. Most of our campaigns do take the form of a billboard campaign. They're typically the most cost effective and the most prevalent media available within our budget, depending on where you are in the country. We operate in all 50 states, and advertising budgets and advertising expenses fluctuate depending on what type of market you're in. But one thing that we can always really count on is billboards seem to be the most consistent out of home media. A typical campaign, it does vary. The length of the campaign does vary by location. Like I said, some markets are small. We've been able to get a campaign for a year in rural Texas versus, only being able to get a campaign for 12 weeks in Los Angeles, California. The price fluctuation is very, very great in a lot of places. So you can expect, we do our best to at least ensure a 12-week campaign. That is my goal. Seems to be a sweet spot as well. There are also other public awareness opportunities that we may consider if billboards are not a viable option. If they're too expensive and out of our budget, we have done things like targeted digital ads, those banner ads that you see on websites. We have done video ads on, that go ahead of streaming services like Tubi. And we have also done transportation shelter ads as well. So there are other opportunities out there. Billboards are not the only option. They're just the most common and most cost-effective option. As a family member, if you receive a grant from SOJ, you will partner with us for the design, promotion, and vendor coordination. So we will sit down with you and help you find that exact billboard. We will help you put that together. You don't need to know how to design a billboard. And we will also, reach out to various partners like law enforcement and like your local Crime Stoppers organization, just to get everybody on board. We do encourage collaboration because that's what makes these campaigns the most effective. Program eligibility, we do have requirements. They are very simple requirements, but we do have requirements in order to be eligible to apply for a grant. The application must come from an immediate family member of the missing person or the victim. Unfortunately, I know we have a lot of friends that really, that care a lot about their loved one, and they are just as important. Unfortunately, it does have to be an immediate family member that submits an application that will work with us, mainly because I'm not going to put a billboard up in an area without family approval. That kind of re-traumatizing situation is not something that we want to be a part of. So if you are attending this session in the hopes of sharing this with a family, please by all means do so. But the family members are the ones who need to submit the application initially. Case classification. The case must be classified by an investigative agency as a homicide or a suspicious missing persons cases. Now, suspicious missing persons cases are typically just any long-term missing persons case. After a certain amount of time, they do become suspicious. Foul play, is typically suspected. Those do qualify. Unfortunately, Season of Justice cannot take on cases that are classified as undetermined deaths or accidental. That's just not something that we are equipped to handle. We do have a network of other potential organizations who may be better equipped to assist in those areas. So if you are coming from, a place where your investigation is not necessarily classified as a homicide or being investigated as a homicide, you still feel free to reach out to me after this, and I will do my best to connect you with organizations who may be better suited to fit your needs. And then the age of the investigation. Cases must be at least 2 years old. This gives investigative agencies more than enough time to exhaust all of the leads that they may have and complete evidence testing in cases of homicide. To ensure that they have exhausted every possible avenue before we're out putting a call to the public for information. The application process itself is pretty simple. Our applications will open September 1st. I believe that's in 2 days. I'm not going to sing the month song for you also. I think it's in 2 days. But September 1st is when the applications will open. At the end of this, you will have, I will show our website URL. Obviously, if you've signed up for this, you've already visited that page. So that will be where you submit an application. Applications will close October 31st and gives you about 2 months to apply. Attendance in this session is not mandatory. And you also do not need, it's not a first come, first serve. All of the applications will be reviewed at the same time. What we will ask in our applications will be, why do you, these are just a couple of questions you can expect to see on the applications. Why do you believe a billboard or an out-of-home media campaign will help generate new leads or help push your case closer to being solved? Are there any upcoming events or local activities that could increase visibility? Do you have a notable anniversary coming up, a birthday, things like that? And then, what's your plan? How do you plan to promote this campaign on whether it's your social media, interaction with local news, community groups, et cetera? We'll also ask you for ideal locations. We really have the opportunity to be strategic with our awareness campaigns. And that's something that we like to do. So we will always ask, to have some ideal locations just already in your head as you're thinking about it. And then what does a successful campaign look like to you, for you and your family? Is it just, generating more media attention than there has been in the past? Is it, to try to get people who may have information to share that information with law enforcement? What does success look like to your family? And then, while it's not required, we do strongly encourage all applicants to take the time to discuss their plans with law enforcement before submitting an application. Like we said, collaboration is the best way to make this the most effective awareness campaign possible. And also, we want to make sure that an awareness campaign or a billboard is not going to interfere with an investigation. I've only had it happen once in our 5 years, where a detective said, "Please don't put up a billboard. I have an arrest warrant, and I am just waiting to go arrest the guy, and I don't want him to run." Um, in those cases, it's perfectly understandable. We're not going to interfere with that investigation. However, there may be other reasons, and so we just strongly encourage you just letting your detective know that these are your plans. This is who you're working with. The other reason I like to introduce Season of Justice to detectives is because of our DNA testing program. While that's only open to law enforcement, you may have a detective that has evidence that needs to be tested with more sensitive technology that they weren't able to, conduct at the public lab. If you let them know that Season of Justice exists and we're applying for a billboard, here's our DNA, you can apply for DNA testing. We always welcome those applications and those opportunities to work on both sides with law enforcement on your loved one's case. Our review process is also pretty simple. We do get a lot of applications. As everybody knows, there's a lot more need than there are available resources. So we try our best um, to meet everyone's needs in the most equitable way that we possibly can. Our decision process, all applications are reviewed by our Public Awareness Campaign Committee. Our committee is made up of experts in this space, as well as some of our board members. And we meet annually to review all of the applications that were received. And then we make recommendations to the board of directors. Our focus, we are always trying to prioritize underserved demographics, people who have, in cases, who have had very little media attention. Those are always always where we prioritize our efforts. Equitable distribution is extremely important to us and to our supporters as well, who fund these campaigns and make this happen. One of the biggest questions we get is, when will I be notified? When will I know if I got the grant or not? The awards will be finalized by our board of directors during the January 2026 board meeting. Our board meetings are always held the last week of the month. So decision letters will go out to all applicants the first week of February. You can expect to receive notifications about that. Family commitments. This is what we ask of you. We will walk you through this process every single step of the way. You will not be alone. But we do ask that you have a high quality photo of your loved one. We do ask that you are active in assisting to promote the campaign, to share it with your local community on your social media channels, with previous reporters that maybe have covered your story, or with local support or with local reporters that would be interested in covering your story. And then we also ask that during the process and during the campaign, there's respectful communication between law enforcement and media. Again, because that's the way that we have the strongest and most effective awareness campaigns, when all of us are working together. That includes, families, law enforcement, local Crime Stoppers organizations, et cetera. What you can expect from Season of Justice, you can expect that we will fund up to $5,000. We will work with you to design whatever creative might be necessary, whether that's a billboard design, a digital ad design, or, as you can see, these banners that were designed as well. We will walk with you through that process. We will also coordinate with law enforcement, local Crime Stoppers organizations, as well as the billboard vendors directly. Beyond our the initial awareness campaign, you can also expect to see your story, your loved one's story, shared on all of our social media platforms. There will also be a featured cases page where we will have the longer narrative of the case. There will be call to action buttons encouraging our supporters to share your story, encouraging people who may have information to submit a tip, etc. And then we will also continue to promote your loved one's case through our local media contacts, through various partnerships with other organizations that support this work, but also on our channels, our social media channels. We will always honor your loved ones and make note of them on birthdays, notable anniversaries, etc. So you can expect that will carry on long after an awareness campaign concludes. There are some limitations to what we can and cannot do. This is probably one of the most important slides in this entire presentation, just to set expectations of what you can expect from a PAC campaign versus what we would like to do but can't do. So we can work directly with you to develop and design the strategic awareness campaign. I always joke that if I can put a billboard in front of a person of interest's house or somebody who may have information, if I can put a billboard right in front of them where they have to see it day in, day out, I absolutely will. I'm more than happy to work with law enforcement, work with families to be very strategic about where we put our media and who we get that in front of. What I cannot do is put up anything that uses aggressive or accusatory messaging or language that calls out or targets any specific agency, city, county officials, or individuals. There are multiple reasons for that, but the main one is, we mainly just want to keep this the line of communication between families and law enforcement open. And we also, we are here to push cases closer to prosecution. And in cases of our public awareness campaigns, that means, soliciting information from the general public. We're not able to be any more aggressive than that, even if we would like to. We can collaborate with your victim advocacy groups, or if you're already working with somebody as a victim advocate, or you have a very good friend who is taking over a lot of this day-to-day legwork, we can work with them after the initial application has been received. And we will also work with local media. We will help source contacts for local media. That burden is not solely on the families. We do just ask if you've already spoken with local media to provide those where you can. What we cannot do is guarantee that your case will be covered by Crime Junkie or any other podcast. That is not our area of expertise. We do not, while we were founded initially in 2020 by Ashley Flowers, we are not affiliated directly with AudioCheck or Crime Junkie. We can help you refocus the spotlight on your loved one's unsolved homicide, and do everything that we can to get the word out, and remind people in your community that their family is still here, their loved ones are still looking for them or seeking answers, and we're not going away. What we cannot do, as much as I would love to be a private detective, there is a reason I am in this chair and not investigating cases. Season of Justice cannot independently investigate cases. And more importantly, we cannot assist in reclassifying case status, changing, a manner of death from unknown, undetermined, accidental to homicide. Area of expertise, like I mentioned earlier. If I have resources to connect families with, I absolutely will. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask me if that's the position you find yourself in. No is not an answer I give lightly. I will always do my best to try to find another door for you to open and walk through. And you know what? We actually ran through this a little bit faster than I expected. But these are some important dates I'd like for everybody to just take note of. Our application portal, again, opens September 1st. Applications will close October 31st. Our committee will review applications in November, early December. And then we will present our recommendations to the board of directors in January for their final approval, and grantees will be notified by the first week of February. One thing, make sure that I've got all of this. So we are hoping to be able to support 10 to 15 families next year. That number, again, there's always a need that far exceeds the resources available. I think I had 115 people sign up to be notified about the application portal being open. So unfortunately, we won't be able to help everybody. That does not mean that your case is not important. That does not mean uh, that that your case is not a priority at all. It is purely based on resources. We are a donation-based organization, and every single dollar spent comes from an individual or an entity that supports this mission, and wants to support families. And I wish we would be able to help everybody, but we will do our best to help as many families as possible. And if we can't support you, I will do my best to find somebody who can. I want to say thank you again for giving us an opportunity to share our program with you, for giving us an opportunity to support your family and your efforts in getting answers and justice for your loved one. Please bookmark our website if you have not already, seasonofjustice.org. Our applications, I will have them open promptly at midnight on September 1st. And as always, you can email me, kendall@seasonofjustice.org. For anyone who is not on video, that's KENDALL@seasonofjustice.org. I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible, um, and answer any questions that you may have. I do see that